Welcome to the first episode of my Whiteboard Wednesday, where I typically will talk about something that is nutrition, lifting, fitness, training related, because I do believe that I have a certain set of knowledge that I can provide to you, the listener. I also am an online coach at trainedbyp3.com. So today's lesson is going to be part of the basics series, and if we're going to create any foundation to our training, our fitness journey, it always will start with nutrition. So the first thing to kind of understand is, what is nutrition in the first place? Nutrition is the foods we eat on a day-to-day basis, and every single food has calories. So calories I look at as using something called calorie control. Some people call it calorie balance. I think if you have a balance in your calories, that is great. That obviously is the in and out, how many calories you are burning compared to how many calories you are consuming. I look at it as calorie control because I can control the calories that are coming in. Sometimes we do and don't know how many are going out, considering there is a certain amount of variables that go into that, gender, weight, height, genetics. There's a lot of different factors that go into the outward bound of the calories. However, if over time we can track and see how many calories we are consuming, and then we are able to make adjustments according to that, then we can have an idea of how many we are actually expending. So when we're looking at calories, the first thing we have to address is what our goals are. So if your goals are to lose weight, we want to be in a calorie deficit. If we want to gain weight, we need to be in a calorie surplus. For example, if somebody is, let's just say, 200 pounds, and they found out that their caloric maintenance, or the maintenance being how to maintain your weight, is 3,000 calories. You eat 2,900 calories, you will lose weight. You eat 3,100 calories, you will gain weight. So in this medium, if you're in calorie deficit, lose weight, calorie surplus, gaining weight. And this has been studied throughout all the literature that some people will try to debate it, but it's nothing more than true. So point one is first figuring out what your goals are through the calorie balance, or the calorie control is what I call it. The second point, macros, and that's getting a little bit deeper into it. So your macronutrients are going to be protein, carbs, and fat, handled by the micronutrients, which can be the fiber, the sodium, all the other smaller nutrients that are in these different foods: vitamin B, K, E, everything else, vitamin C, vitamin D, all of those. But the three main ones that people try to stress are your two that are used for energy, which are carbohydrates and fat. And then you have your muscle building and also your most thermic macro, which is protein. So when we are consuming a lot of protein, it has a thermic effect on the body, where it will heat up your body internally. You might notice if you eat a lot of meat, people call it the meat sweats, and that's because it actually has a very hot thermic effect in your body, and it also is the building block to creating muscle. Carbohydrates are not a necessary nutrient for a human consumption. However, in regards to energy used during workouts and performance, there are many studies that show that carbohydrates are the king source and superior over purely using fat sources. So if we look at carbohydrate sources, everyone will know that you can say potatoes, rice, bread, oatmeal, like a cream of rice. Fruit usually contains a lot of carbs. Bananas, things of that nature will have a lot of carbohydrates inside of them. They all have a couple of different roles that they play, from being a simple carbohydrate that digests quickly or a complex carbohydrate that will digest is a little bit slower, that contains the whole entire oat bran, typically when you're talking about a complex carbohydrate. Now, when we're talking about fats, anytime someone hears the word fat, they usually think bad, but fats are nuts, nut butters, avocados, any type of really oil, from avocado oil, extra virgin olive oil, macadamia nut oil. There's a lot of different sources that are like that, cashew nut butter, and there you can kind of go on a little bit. And these will provide you, the person, with a good amount of energy. And I do think they do have a hormonal role to play when you are ingesting them in the first place, either if it's going to be first thing in the morning, at night. But typically I recommend to keep these outside of your training window. And once we get deeper into a macro episode, I can go how to leverage each one and then how to use them throughout the day and take full advantage of each set of macronutrient. The tip that I would give today to you, the listener, would be to use single ingredient foods at all times. This is me. If I'm going to eat something, I'm eating rice, I'm eating potato, I'm eating chicken, beef, turkey, avocado, peanuts. If I can single everything down to being a single ingredient food, what that does is that actually helps me create variables that I can pull out easy. So if I know something doesn't digest with me well, I'm like, okay, the potato messed me up. I can pull the potato out, put something else in. But if I look on the back of a box and then it says potato, potassium, gluten, added this, that, and there's like 30 ingredients, that's when, as a coach or even yourself, you're like, okay, well, was it this riboflavin that's in here? Was it this? Was it that? So like I have to sometimes help clients know at first, in the end, we can have some processed foods here and there, definitely when we're flexible dieting. However, if we start off our fitness journey having single ingredient foods, it just makes things a lot easier. And all these will be separate videos, but with this point, the takeaway should be, first thing going through all this is get to the single ingredient foods. And how to end this video is looking at single ingredient foods, your macros, your calorie balance, or your calorie control, is simply being consistent. The more you adhere to the plan that I provide, or another coach does, or the one that you made yourself, the more consistent you are, the more you adhere to your plan, the better the results will come. If you think that you're going to get results for going a week on, taking a month off, 2 days on, a month off, or 3 weeks off, results just won't happen. So the best thing that you can do as an individual is every single day do something just a little bit. You don't have to go better than yesterday, even though that is what we could call progressive overload. But if we do 1% or 1% better, or we're making some type of progress, if it's going to be in the training, the food, the sleep, the recovery, then in that case, what will happen is we will actually be consistent enough to create a result. So thanks for listening to my first Whiteboard Wednesday. I hope everyone has a great day. And if this is something that you found valuable, or you think someone else will too, feel free to like, share, and subscribe, and send to a family or friend that could use this information to get them started on their fitness journey.